helped people get into transitional housing in the process, and into inpatient as per their request. So hopefully that's going to help and move forward with them.
They are still out here almost every day, if not daily, trying to connect with these people and get them services, get them some help. We do have space in the cabins for housing, and we do have a men's recovery house in town if somebody's willing to get into it.
Thank you. And I'll just take a quick opportunity to announce AJ back here. He is our new police navigator. He's finally on board, so we're going to have him right here. So he'll be working with the police team on a daily basis as well. Real team.
My name's Samantha. I'm the project manager of the Discovery Behavioral Health Wheel Team, and we have also got a few people into transitional housing, and is it a couple people into detox? Next by multiple, yeah. And that's trying to get people started with like mental health services or whatever they're needing.
So, how about Bayside houses?
Well, I look at this as two tracks. One, we've got to solve this problem right now and get these people housed in order to get through this winter period. But the bigger thing is the bigger track, getting the right program in force to start being able to take care of these folks on an annual basis with facilities that are in line with the needs that they have. We can do it. We're a small community. We've got a lot of intelligence in our community. Let's figure out a way to do it. Other countries have done it. Other cities have done it. But you've got to bite the bullet. There's going to be some real hard decisions from a budget standpoint that has to be made by the city, the county, and everybody else in our community. But we can get it done together.
Yahoo! Successes you wanted to share with us?
Well, the idea is to take a few people and place them in our different properties. As you know, we have Pat's place up here that should be built into Fitz's Village, an apartment house, but in the meantime, we've got some space there. Then we've got the property at Woodley Place, where we house 4 or 5 people. Then we have Peter's Place out at the Methodist Church in Hadlock, that also 5. So we're going to try to put people in a few different places where there's already supervision existing, that we don't have to remake the wheel here. But it would be only an interim deal. It's not a solution, but it's just something to get through this very difficult period that we're all feeling today. Okay, thank you.
Dove House? Is anybody here from the Dove House? How about Discovery Behavioral Health?
I'm here. My name is Jessica.
Can you scream?
Speak up,
Can
please.
you scream?
My name is Jessica McKinnon. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer at DBH and also the COO. We've been offering services. That's what we can do. Hopefully, people will take advantage of those.
Do you come here? Do you go on site and talk to people?
Well, the real team is part of DBH. So the real team comes on site.
All right, thank you. Health Department? Anybody want to speak for the Health Department?
Yeah, here. My name is Ethel Martin. I'm the Director at Houston County Public Health. Thanks for having me today. I think backing up a little bit, it's worthwhile for all of you to know that we have harm reduction services that meet a lot of needs of people who are unhoused, or people who are struggling and experiencing substance use disorder and other myriad issues. We have a mobile team that comes to the encampment at least every Friday, if not more than that. I'll let my colleague Annika talk about that in a minute. Recently, we were asked to sort of help on the ground with managing some situation with the porta potties that were deployed by the city. We with a really sort of on the ground grassroots plan among residents of the encampment who could help us, all of us work together to keep them cleaner and safer for everyone, including the operators who are hired by Goodman Sanitation to make sure that those porta potties were usable and safe. Yeah, and we did get them back here. It was a village effort for sure. And then Anya works with our harm reduction team, and we have a lot of services that are mobile that I'll let her talk about more.
Yeah, I've been coming out here with Public Hope for about the past 3 years. As the camp has migrated since they pushed folks out of the woods, more over here, out of the wetlands over here. We come out every Friday. We distribute hygiene supplies like body wipes. That's probably our most popular thing. We distribute snacks. We distribute safer use supplies like sterile syringes and glassware for folks to smoke. We connect folks to services. We connect folks to do coordinated entry with all the CAP to connect folks to get on the list of 250 people we need for a house in our community. We've been out here more in the past couple of weeks just trying to support folks. It's been really traumatizing for people knowing that this election date's coming up and we've seen behavioral health, escalate with folks just like not knowing where they're gonna go. Every day I'm at work, people ask me where am I supposed to go. We've got folks living in front of public health now, in front of our office, under the awning. I'm really excited about all of my colleagues who are out here trying to offer solutions. Some solutions I've heard include putting people on buses to other cities, putting people in shelters over in Highland County, in Clallam, and in Kitsap. And those actually aren't solutions to me. Homelessness is a problem. We're not going to solve it today. We're probably not going to solve it in the next 5 years. We can close this encampment and they're going to pop up in other areas. My personal opinion is that we need to find a place where folks can camp and have resources like toilets and water and connections so service providers can continue to come every week. I've been referencing a report from the National Association of City and County Health Officials on how ineffective sweeps are and how when we do things like what the city's planning on November 3rd, it actually escalates issues like overdose fatalities, folks not having access to mobility devices or medications. So we know that closing this encampment is just going to exacerbate all of the issues that me and all my service provider colleagues are concerned about. I know from my personal experience, from my professional experience as a social worker who works with substance users, that you can't force people to be sober, and I believe that housing is a human right. Yes. And regardless if you are actively using drugs or alcohol or not, everybody deserves a place to fall asleep safely at night. So I hope that with the awesome support of this community and with all the service providers, we can tell a place for people to go on November 4th when they're pushed out here so people can continue to exist and live and camp. A lot of people that are still camping here wouldn't last very many days, and many of the congregate solutions that are open, they know that maybe there's a bed or two down at the shelter right now. Maybe there's a bed at the awesome recovery housing that we have. Those don't work for a lot of people. A lot of people have behavioral health issues responding to internal stimuli. They're not able to exist in a safe way in a congregate setting. So we need a place where we can tell folks who feel like they want to continue living outside, that they can live outside and they're not going to be trespassed and they're not going to be arrested for just existing.
Don't make it worse. They're actually in the meeting.
Any other service providers that would like to share some of their experiences or successes that they've had out here and getting people placement or assistance?
How about someone who's going to be influenced by this decision? Why are we having this meeting all the way over here when everybody is over there?
So I just walked around over there and I invited our neighbors to come over here, and a lot of them don't feel safe or welcomed over here, and they feel like they'd be judged by folks, and they don't think that this meeting is for them. So I have relationships with people over there, and after this meeting I'm gonna go relay what we talked about here, but this isn't a time to like go parade through people's homes.
I was thinking more like I am a little disturbed to see the separation here. I feel like what you have said has been the most on point by a long shot. There is no way we're going to solve this all immediately. In fact, I just like really quickly shorthand other than myself has experienced homelessness for a significant period of time? Okay?
Can you say that again?
Who here, other than myself, has experienced homelessness for a significant period of time? These are the people that you should be listening to.
Yes.
The people with their hands up. They're the only ones who know what this is about, who know what this is like, and who know what is needed. And going over here and making them feel othered, yeah, that's not great. So, like, I really think we all need to think about this from a dramatically different perspective. And those of you who think that this is, like, just fine and we can sweep this under the rug or bust this somewhere else or make it someone else's problem, you're making it worse. I cannot explain to you what it feels like to be homeless in this town. Like, I used to walk around here, and I cannot explain to you how desperate I was to just live in someone's shed. To just, like, have anyone notice me and not just see right through me. I am absolutely never going to live in the world the same way after this experience that I've had. Actually, I've had this experience multiple times. And I am a business owner, I am a hard worker, and this happened to me while I was working about 80 hours a week. This town eats people alive. If that hasn't been your experience, folks, then come talk to one of us. I'm sure that if we raised our hands, we're clearly open enough to talk about it with everybody, and we'll talk about it in a non-combative way, I'm sure too, and I will also. But I do have to say, I feel like I'm seeing some massive ignorance going on right now, and you guys are about to ruin. I mean, and probably kill people doing this. Like, we're talking about murder. This is knowing. We are knowingly doing something with a predictable outcome. Okay?
Why is this sweep happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many of us,
Yeah.
I'll speak. So I was working at Discovery Wheelhouse. I'm also a social worker. I've also been homeless. Talking to my colleagues, like, no one was happy about this. Everyone was like, why is the city against us? The people who put our educations, our lives, and dedicate our whole lives serving people like us. And then you're like, oh, we're just going to make it a little harder on you all so you all work real extra hard. That's absurd. That's obscene.
Yeah.
That is obscene.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And particularly in this moment, I mean, so many of us have brought up, like, winter. You mentioned what it's like to be outside. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why are we then asking people to deconstruct their infrastructure and try and, I mean, it's just stop the sweep. Like, that is the answer to this problem. While people actually have severely underpaid, I'll say, as you all know, severely underpaid people have more time to actually set up real services, real solutions, where people can have an outdoor congregate setting where they can actually receive services that all these elite people offer. There's no good answer. I'm very, very.
So,
I want to be able to say something. Help me say something.
originally it was just
I want to be able to find a way to say something here.
an idea was brought forward to bring it out to this location. I talked to some people, got some feedback that doing it closer to the encampment would be invasive.
Why aren't they invited? Why didn't we get representatives?
They are
That's my
invited.
question.
They are
Everyone
invited.
is invited.
Okay, but why don't we find out a way to make them feel comfortable so the representatives would actually feel like they could attend this meeting? We've already
speak to a really
established that they
important point.
clearly don't feel comfortable
So,
talking to
can
them.
I help
They're
answer
going to
that for
feel
her?
judged. And so that's a problem we need to solve.
So my name is
Yeah.
Michael McCutcheon, and I'm out here often. And I work with the people here. I work with our other service providers. They are invited, and it would be encroaching upon their space to set up
Okay.
down there.
You're
No,
not
no,
understanding
please
what
let
I'm
me talk.
proposing.
I'm talking.
But
You
you're
need to wait.
responding to something that is
You-
not what I'm
All right,
proposing.
I'm not going to address anything you have to say then. If you're not going to wait your
Did
turn.
you hear? I'm saying you are responding to something that
Alright,
I'm not
folks.
advocating.
This
So
is-
what it is we
We're
started
not
out
arguing.
5 weeks ago. We had 30 full-time residents down here. And when John first made the announcement that he needed this space down here, it did bother me because I do see the fact that we're uprooting people. And I used the words to John. I said, here you allow this behavior to go on for over 4 years, and then you turn around and give me 6 weeks to change this behavior. But you know what it is? is in my recovery, I believe in working with
The
people,
city manager.
working and abiding by what the law says and what we're told that we're to do. And I believe in recovery, whatever that recovery is that that person needs. So then I start working with John and I ask him what he's got in plan because I don't want to see, there's never been the word sweep. Somebody else started that. And it's not an eviction. What it is we want to get them into locations. So as of yesterday, there are 7 full-time residents down here. So we went from 30 to 7. Now I'm only talking about the area that John drew on the map that affects Evan Vista and then the pump system that needs to go in down there also. So there's other people in other areas. But to have 7 out of 30 and we're at 5 weeks, there's still not going to be a sweep. There's no such thing as a sweep.
What about people who become homeless?
We have 3 individuals that are extremely challenged mentally. And that's going to be extremely hard. One of them kind of needs I don't know what you call it, where they're assisted part of the day, and then they have their freedom to come and go. So that one's going to be extremely challenging. But you know what? Every single one of these people that live down here are a success. We're all successes, but it's how you want to look at it.
No, it's not a success. My health has deteriorated because I can't be in the 209A shelter because it's so awful. Broken hygiene facilities, staff that bully you, the Legion stomps on the floor till 3 a.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Nobody gets any sleep. I was just at the co-op grabbing something to eat before I came out here, and there's a guy who's staying in there and he can't stay awake because they were stomping on the floor. It's like living in a coffin there and being buried and having someone stomp on your coffin all night long. It's like being buried alive in the 209A shelter. That's why we're out here. And it's people get sick. People go in healthy. They get sick. They go in healthy, they get sick. There's multiple infections. People get pneumonia, they get lung infections, MRSA. There's no ventilation. It's an old building. It's below sea level. The pumps will break when there's a king tide. It's just the staff there, the subcontractor through Bayside, it's like the YMCA saying we're going to hire people who don't know how to be a lifeguard or untrained lifeguards and don't know how to swim to watch your children in the pool. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, if somebody can facilitate an AA meeting, that's great. But that doesn't mean you know how to run a shelter. And people come in there with knives. You know, a long time ago when I first came in 2023, there used to be a guy from the old school and he would check people's bags. But I've had people point knives at me in there. I've had staff physically bully me, threaten me in there. No way. No, I'm not staying in there. You know, that's why I'm out here.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maggie.
Yes.
And one of the things I feel frustrated about is like housing service providers and behavioral health service providers have been doing a great job coming out here. There's been a lot of, I feel like, deflection towards those folks for not getting their permit application in time. And there's not a lot of responsibility taken from the city about the process, the clarity, the transparency, and accountability for this whole process. And yeah, y'all folks have been doing a lot of good work out here day in and day out. Where's the city come in? Because the ask is not to indefinitely suspend the sweep. The ask is to work with the people that are here that care enough to show up to get their insight and wisdom about a time frame that would actually be meaningful and to address the needs of everybody, especially the folks that are left behind here that are the most marginalized. So having a community conversation with the folks here doing the work, with the people that live here, to have a comprehensive understanding of what would work best in a time frame that would be feasible, not just indefinite and not just an arbitrary date. So working with the folks that are here, showing up to meet the needs of folks. because there's a lot of issues that are complex to meet. Like Gary says, it's not going to be solved in this year. But having these community conversations with folks most impacted is a good step to build trust in the community in a way that policy can reflect down the line to make sure a situation like this doesn't happen again. So again, not an ask for an indefinite suspension, but following the community, using the wisdom of the community to find a date we can all agree upon, especially those most impacted, in a way that you can have decision, make a plan that is meaningful and impactful. So that's a big piece that I feel
Meaningful
city doesn't
shelter.
really-
Yes, yes. If we are criminalized for needing to sleep, needing to go to the bathroom, needing to eat, things that everyone must do or they will die, even if they're housed, needing to stay warm, needing not to be exposed to the elements to freeze to death. You want to criminalize us for that, but we can get on the bus and you're not going to criminalize us when we go to all the providers and go to the health department. You see the hypocrisy there? We get on the bus every day. The Housing Not Handcuffs bill is in the Transportation Committee, put forth by Representative J. Paul, and Patty supports it from the Ways and Means Committee. And, we aren't criminalized when we get on the bus and we go to Recovery Cafe or the health department or to behavioral health or to the hospital. But, if we sit down somewhere, oh my gosh, if I go take a nap in the public park, I'm going to get a ticket. I got a ticket last year. There's a picture of me with Officer Sharif at Recovery Cafe. It was in the exhibit at the Port Townsend Museum when they had the homeless exhibit. So, I'm criminalized for, needing to rest and to sleep. But, if I want to get on the bus, So what's the hypocrisy all about? I ask you.
As a citizen, I don't work for anybody. I've been homeless before. When I moved here, I was homeless. I'll say that I think that mental illness, and I think that people who fall through the cracks of the system, people who have disabilities, people who can't work like the regular working class and be able to afford an apartment in this crazy high inflation period. I absolutely believe that people like you who need blankets and food and heat and to use the bathroom and to take a nap, I think it's more so that the community sometimes feels a little threatened by the large population of drugs in that tiny area. The drugs, the uncleanliness, it's not everybody.
If I can respond to you, many calls were made for service for the porta potties, and it was not like what Neil made it out to be in the newspaper.
Yes, homelessness, drug abuse lives
but,
everywhere.
it's not a fentanyl forest. It's got disabled people, and I really have to push back on that demonization of homeless people and marginalization of them as being subhuman. And, not not everyone's on drugs, okay?
Let's refocus on how we can get to good outcomes.
Can the city pay for 2 staff members at a supported encampment at F and San Juan?
As far as I know, no.
Why can we pay for bike lanes and not a supported encampment?
It comes down to some very complicated budgeting realities.
The bike lanes are more important than
It
lives.
does. It just does. It's the grant funding. It's the nature of sources of revenue, the buckets they have to stay in. It's frustrating. I am deeply frustrated by our housing crisis. Deeply frustrated that we have so many people in this community who are on the verge of homeless. It's atrocious that we have such massive yawning wealth divide in this community, let alone the country, the world, that this is the reality in which we operate. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to give a lot of the answers that you want to hear. I'm a legislator. I'm one of the 7 council members. We're not able to actually direct anything at this point. The purpose of this meeting is to have a discussion on solutions. Let's look forward at how we figure out the best possible outcome for the people we have here the resources, the very limited resources we have, working with our providers
Well,
to
there's more
hopefully end up
resources.
with a good outcome.
I'm curious about the church. Can I ask a question? Is there any organization that represents the churches here? Because if you think about it, they have the space, they have the resources, the people power to house people, even if it's just temporarily. So, is there anybody here that represents? any type
Yes,
of
I
church?
do. I represent Jefferson Interfaith Action Coalition. The churches are in trouble. They lost 30% of their congregants during the pandemic for a variety of reasons. That included money. All the churches are in trouble. I go to the largest church here, I believe, Cooper Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We're in trouble financially, but we're growing, which is a good thing. That's, and we're all old.